Today I'm going to do a quick video about how to change this thing right here. That is the fuel pump for a Mercruiser 5.0 V8 Alpha 1 outdrive. Alright, not really sure if it makes a difference for an Alpha or a Bravo. It shouldn't. It's just a mechanical fuel pump on a Chevy V8. Now, as you can see, I've already changed it out. So in order to get this thing mounted, you're going to have to move something called a push rod, and that is inside the motor that operates. It's inside the motor, and it operates the fuel pump right here. All right. In order to see how to get that going for you, just do a YouTube search, change mechanical fuel pump, and you should come up with one. It was very easy, very simple for me to find. Okay, so this is what the part looks like. At the end of the video, I'll show you the old one that I took off. Now, as you can see here, you have some lines right here. You have a line right there, that kind of yellowish golden line. Okay, that is your that goes up to the carburetor. All right, that remains unchanged. When you take the old fuel pump off, you just pull that one off and you're good to go. We're going to rotate around, and you're going to see your inlet and outlets right here and right here. Okay, so let's get started. So right here, this white thing you see is your water separating fuel filter. There's a line coming out of this, okay, that goes right to here. All right, on my video, it's the metal line. That's the original line. Okay, on your engine, they're probably both going to be metal, original equipment. I swapped mine out for this rubber one you see right here. I'll get into that in a minute. So what you have to do is, I suggest you either put a pan down there in the bilge or some oil diapers or things like that. All right, okay, so you're going to take these lines off by holding a wrench. Sorry if you get an echo here, I'm way down in the bilge. You're going to hold a wrench on this one right here, okay? The bigger one, all right? Then, on your compression fitting right here, you're going to hold a smaller one, all right? You're going to have to test it out on your own. I apologize for not remembering the sizes. It's a pretty stressful morning getting this thing changed out before we went out on the water. Okay, so you're going to disconnect your inlet and outlet lines, okay? Once those are disconnected, you're going to get some gas leaking out, all right? It'll be your job to make sure you get that cleaned up. And whatever you do, do not dispose of it incorrectly, as it is an environmental hazard, okay? There are fines and stuff like that from, local and state government. Okay, so once you get these two off, then you're going to come around and unmount your fuel pump, okay? Once you take that yellow line off, you'll see one bolt on your left, all right, and one bolt on your right. Pretty sure you can see them both right there. Okay, it's a little difficult for me to get my hand in. I'll have to stick it in front, all right? One's right there, and one is directly on the other side of that. Once all your lines are disconnected, you just unscrew those and it pops right out. Again, to mount it, it's very easy. Those two bolts go back on. All right, so it's literally that easy. Now, again, do a YouTube search for how to change a mechanical fuel pump. Not an electric fuel pump, a mechanical fuel pump. That's what this is. All right, when you do that, there'll be a couple of videos on how to get the push rod out of the way in order to get this inserted. Again, at the end of the video, I'll show you the old fuel pump that was taken out. Now, what I had to do, sorry about that, I just stuck my hand over it. I had to replace this line, the outlet line from the fuel pump, because mine was cracked, corroded, and damaged. So I was freaking out and trying to make it happen as we were leaving. Sorry if this gets a little long-winded, but trust me, it'll benefit you. So this right here, this is not the original fitting that was there, okay? The original fittings are compression fittings. You can see this is actually a rubber fuel line, okay? What I did was, right here, I took the compression fitting out. All right. Now, that compression fitting, I will show you in just a minute. All right. Actually, why don't I show it to you now? Okay, let's swing over onto the deck. The compression fitting that was in the carburetor was this. Okay. Your line, your OEM metal line will screw into it there. All right. You can see in there it's compression. The little flange will be on the end of the metal pipe. Okay. You need that. If you don't have that flange for the compression, you're going to squirt gas everywhere. A way around that is you take this out, okay? Then what you're going to do is use one of these. It's called a pipe thread, okay, to a hose barb, all right? Pipe goes in, hose barb comes out, okay? This right here, let me get it lined up, sorry. This right here, when you unscrewed it, this here is a pipe thread. Going into it is compression. So that's what confuses some people. So all you need is to get a pipe thread with a hose barb coming out of it, like this. Then you can create that on both ends. Now, this top one on my engine, you'll have to figure out what size it is, but now that you have this video, it'll kind of walk you through it. My engine, a 3/8 fit in there. Fit in kind of tight, but it didn't cross thread. All right, I tightened it up nice, no fuel leak. This end, this hose right here, okay, is a 3/8 inch inside diameter hose. Okay, I'm going to show it to you now. Here's an extra cut. Obviously, I keep that on the boat in case this ever happens again. You see right there, 3/8 inch. ID means inside diameter. And the rest of that is blah, blah, blah. Very important to me, made in the USA. Don't really care that it was made on 11/3 in 2015. The important stuff here, 3/8 inch inside diameter. So what does that mean? That means this right here. I had to get a 3/8 pipe thread to a 3/8 inch hose barb. Okay? Once you screw it in, all right, you get that screwed in. You put the hose right over it. Okay, you could put a little, you know, a tiny, tiny thin coating of Vaseline, or I just, honestly, I'm not going to lie, I just spit on it. And the hose went right on. Use a hose clamp, and you're good to go at this end. Okay, let's get down to the fuel filter now. Again, sorry for the echo, I'm down in the bilge. But here, my fuel filter, okay, was a different size. All right, still a 3/8 inch hose barb. But we're going to come back up, and I will show you on the bottom, the outlet, the one that goes into the fuel pump. Okay, this was the size, 3/8 inch by 1/4 inch hose barb. What does that mean? It means 3/8 inch hose barb coming out of here by 1/4 inch threads right here. Don't get confused by how they word it here, because it drove me nuts this morning. All right, so 3/8 inch hose barb to go into 3/8 inch rubber tube by 1/4 inch pipe thread. Okay, that 1/4 inch pipe thread, sorry about the blue on there, that's my gloves. The 1/4 inch pipe thread goes into here. Okay, so 1/4 inch pipe thread, thread it in, tighten it up. Again, be very, very careful with this stuff. You don't want to break it or cross thread it. If you really, really, really have to struggle, you're probably cross threading it. Okay, but let's move forward. Screw this in very slowly and very gently. Okay, hose goes on, hose clamp goes on, and you're done. There were no leaks. The boat ran like a dream. Now, obviously, I'm going to eventually plan on replacing this inlet line. But guys, if you're having a no start condition, what does that mean? That means your boat will not start because your fuel lines are gunked up. This fuel line is gunked up. Okay, you're going to want to easily replace this. This just comes right off at the carburetor right there. Okay, you see that hose clamp? That, you take the hose clamp off, pull this little hose off, follow it back down to the fuel pump down there, and not sure if you could see it, sorry about that, it goes down there, and you take it off the fuel pump. If you have spark and you have air, you do not have the third element, meaning fuel, in your cylinders, okay? Most likely, it is your fuel pump, okay? You could possibly need to empty out your water separating fuel filter, okay? That is right here, this white canister, all right? But to get an engine running, you need 3 things. You need spark, you need fuel coming through here, and you need air going in the carburetor, all right? I can't go over all the different ways to troubleshoot if you have a no start condition, but if you have spark, okay, and you have air, obviously, in your carburetor, you have a fuel delivery problem, all right? It's most likely, okay, gunked up fuel lines or a bad fuel pump, all right? I don't want to get into issues with the timing, with the cam, or anything like that, but if your timing is good, all things being equal, if you have correct spark and you have air, you need fuel. Check your fuel pump, check your fuel lines, all right? This showed you how to change out that fuel pump, all right? Let me go show you the old one that is dismounted already. Okay, guys, so here we are with the old fuel pump right here. This is what it looks like when you take it off, okay? You can see very easy the 2 mounting bolts right there. You have your inlet and outlet hoses. This is going to be the outlet. This will be the inlet. All right. This right here is what moves up and down with the push rod on the inside of the motor. Again, just do a YouTube search and search for mechanical fuel pump replacement, and you'll find one of them. Okay, you can do a YouTube search, mechanical fuel pump replacement, push rod, or whatever. That's what I did, and it was actually pretty easy. Didn't take 10 minutes, but it wasn't complicated. All right, so here you see my old fuel line, banged up, bent, ended up cracking off at both ends. All right, just a total mess. Okay, this right here is your gasket. That's going to go on here. Very important you have the gasket. All right, just spray one side with some gasket sealer. Let it dry so it's tacky to the touch. You don't want to put it on when it's soaking wet. Let it dry so it's tacky to the touch. Mount your gasket on here. You see this old one. All right, and then you'll be good to go. Couple of more things. When you take this off, make sure on the motor you scrape off all old residue from the gasket. You want it nice and clean. Okay, then you mount your gasket on your new one and get it going. Okay, again, 2 bolts here, very simple. The way you're going to put it in, the push rod will be out of the way, and this will get inserted in kind of like this. You'll kind of have to tip it in to get it between the push rod. Again, this is just a quick video, so you'll figure it out when it's going. And last thing, I believe I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, very, very, very important. You're working with fuel. Hopefully the motor's not hot. Make sure it's cool to the touch. Have a fire extinguisher handy. If it's possible, have a second person there with you with the fire extinguisher to avoid any mishaps due to flames or sparks or anything like that. All right, it's very important that you have a fire extinguisher handy. All right. Also very important, if you are not comfortable doing stuff like this, I do not recommend that you do it. All right, I'm pretty comfortable with this. You know, not exactly a shade tree mechanic, but I'm not an A-level Ford mechanic either. But it's not too complicated. But again, very, very, very important you have a fire extinguisher handy. All right, make sure your battery is turned off and disconnect both negative battery terminals, and should be good to go. Have any questions, just leave them in the comments. All right, good luck and enjoy the season.